Let's answer the impossible question. How do you set boundaries with an addict? Stay tuned. Setting boundaries with an addict can be so tricky. I'm going to give you some skills that actually work to be effective at setting those boundaries. I'm excited for this video, but stay tuned until the end where I have a free gift for you that will really help you be effective in your relationship with an addict. When I first started treating addiction, I honestly didn't really know what I was actually getting myself into. Addicts can be tough. Working with addicts every day can be really tough. One thing that they love to do is push limits, break boundaries. And so working with addiction for 15 years, I've also worked with couples and partners of addicts who have tried to have a relationship while there's an addiction present. It's important that you understand how to navigate that. One of the best things you can do to support your partner who's struggling with an addiction is for you to have boundaries. Now that can be really hard. I want to explain something to you about addiction. An addict who's in a relationship, a close relationship, they're stuck between two things. They have their addiction that they don't want to get rid of. They don't know how to get rid of it. They also have the relationship. They have you, they have the family, they have the marriage, whatever type of relationship you have. These two things they don't want to lose, but they can't really have both unless they get you to give up your truths. If they can get you to acquiesce, to give in, to take on a lot of their stuff, then they can have both. But what that means is that you'll have to be really unhealthy to be in a relationship with an addict. They'll manipulate you, they'll gaslight you, they'll trick you into giving in and giving up certain things. You don't want to do that. You want to support them to help them out of their addiction. The best thing you can do to do that is for you to have boundaries. Quick warning, you guys, is that if you want to have boundaries while you're in a relationship with an addict, it's going to be challenging. It's going to take everything you've got. It's going to challenge every part of you. And as you have those boundaries, it's going to create some friction. But that friction isn't bad. That friction is actually helping motivate the addict to look at recovery as an option. If that friction isn't there, if it's easy for them, they're not going to want to change. So be willing to step into the discomfort of being honest with your partner and having boundaries with them. If you sacrifice your boundaries to avoid conflict with an addict, you unknowingly may be enabling the addiction. Now I'm going to talk to you about specific tools and things that you can do to be effective in your boundaries with an addict. First thing to do is to recognize how the addict is actually breaking your boundaries. Now, the way that you recognize this is for you to kind of look inside of yourself and notice your emotions. What type of emotions do you have about certain things that the addict does? So let's say they don't come home from work one night and you feel frustrated and resentful. The frustration and the resentment is an indicator that some boundary is being pushed or taken from you. So listen to your emotions and trust your emotions when you feel certain things that say, this doesn't work for me. The next thing to do is to be firm. An addict will find your weak spot. They'll push where they need to push to get their way. So they'll break you down, they'll trigger your shame or your fears in order for you to give in. Be firm and be direct. Know what your truth is. So it might be something like, I'm not okay with you not coming home from work at all during the night. That doesn't work for me. It breaks trust for me. So that doesn't work. The addict might say, well, you're the crazy one. You're awful. You're horrible. You stay firm and come back to, I'm not okay with that. That doesn't work for me. The next thing to do, which can be extremely difficult, is to be loving. Having boundaries with an addict does require tough love. But that love part is part of it. And being loving means you can communicate effectively. You can communicate kindly. You can see why they're doing what they're doing and understand them and have compassion for them. But at the same time, still be firm and still be honest about what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Before I go on to the next point, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. The next thing that's important is that you're clear. So what I mean by that is that you're clear with yourself about what your boundary is, and you're clear in your communication to them about what your boundary is. So instead of saying something like, well, I kind of sort of want this, or it would sure be nice if this or that, it's being very clear. This is what I need. This is who I am. And this is what I want in our relationship. And I'm going to be honest with you about it. I'm going to be very direct with you about it. And and I'm going to be clear with you about it. Again, if you're not clear, then the addict will take any opportunity to take you out of that truth, to get you not to trust yourself. So be very clear with them. All right, you guys, the easy part of a boundary is to communicate it to them, is to tell them, look, this doesn't work, or that doesn't work, or this is what I need. The hard part of a boundary is to actually follow through, is to actually do what you say you're gonna do. If you don't follow through, then what you say to them actually doesn't mean anything. And the next time you try to have a boundary with them, they're gonna know that that's not true. Believe me, I know my 5-year-old does it all the time with me. So you've got to follow through. When you say this is how things are gonna be, or this is what you need, you've gotta follow through. And that can be the hardest part. But when you do follow through, you're gonna feel empowered and you're gonna feel boundaried, and they might throw a fit, but do it anyways. Lastly, reinforce love. So when you follow through, when you say, sorry, this doesn't work, and you actually do it, they might really, really not like it. And you can get mean and angry and say, well, this is how it's gonna be. But instead, back up and love them anyways. You have compassion for their struggle. Have empathy for how hard it is for them, for you to be honest with them. And see them as a human with value, somebody that you love deeply, but stay true to your boundary anyways. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found it helpful. Now, I've developed a free resource that takes you way more into depth and gives you some real tools to reset your relationship. So please check out the link in the description for that free resource. See you next time.